Okay, let's look at yesterday's assignment, linear transformations. So on each one of these 1 through 6, you need to graph the linear parent function, which is just f of x equals x. So I did those in purple, as you can see. And then we are going to graph the new function. I renamed that g of x. And so if there is a change by the +2, that means it's translated up 2 units. This is same exact steepness, same slope, just a y-intercept of +2. So my description is translate up 2 units. The next one, it has a negative x, so all that does is reflect it, which makes this new line with a negative slope. So you will do the rest of those. Let's look at 7 through 10. Describe the change in terms of f of x. Write the rule for the transformation described. This is a vertical translation of 3 units down. So what that does is change our y-intercept by going down. So that means I'm going to subtract 3. So then my new function g of x is found by doing whatever f of x is and then subtracting 3 from it. Number 8 is changing the steepness. When you change the steepness, you're multiplying the f of x times some factor, which in this case would be 1/4. And so we would write g of x equals 1/4 f of x. All that does is change our steepness. Okay, so you will finish 9 and 10. Let's look on the back. The graph of a linear function is shown on the grid. Given f of x equals x and h of x equals a f of x, what is the value of a? So all a does is change your steepness. So what we would need to do is find out what the steepness is, which another word for that would be a is going to be the description of how the slope is changed. So we are going to find the slope. We have some points here on this line. So all we need to do with a graph like this is just do rise over run to find out what a is. So you pick 2 perfect points, which are already there for us, and do rise over run. So this rises 1, runs 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's less steep by a factor of 1/4. So our a is just 1/4. So a is very similar to m being your slope. Number 12 is the same thing, same question, just we have a different graph and we're asked what is a. The thing that is trying to confuse you here, though, is that the 2 points that have numbers on them are here, but this has a decimal. But what we can do is we can use another point on our graph, like the origin, because it goes through the origin, and find the steepness from that. So just do rise over run. Okay, the last one's number 13, f of x equals x plus 3. Translate f of x down 5 units. Write the transformed function in terms of g of x, and then graph both on the right. So if we're translating a function down 5 units, you see where it starts, and then you go down from that. So all this is going to do is change my y-intercept. It does nothing to the slope. We're just going to change that y-intercept. If you're going down 5 units, you start at 3 and you go down 5 units. So what we can actually do is just subtract those. 3 minus 5, -2. So our new function is x, because the slope didn't change. The only thing that changed was our y-intercept. It was 3, it went down 5, so now it's -2. And it does tell you to graph both of them. So you're going to graph this f of x and g of x. So f of x starts at 3 and has a slope of 1. So up 1 over 1, down 1, left 1. So that is the f of x, the function that they've given us. So now we're also asked to graph the g of x. So the g of x was translated down 5 units, so it's at -2. But it still has the same slope of 1 over 1. And label it g of x. Okay, you will turn this in just a minute, so hang on a second. Let's look at your assignment for today. This is a scavenger hunt. So if you look around the room, we have a lot of problems around the room. So you're going to do those in any order you pick. Well, you'll start with any one that you want, and then you're going to go from there. So it says start at any question you want and write down the name of the picture that is on the paper. Solve the problem and write your answer on the space provided. Now look around the room and find the sheet that has your answer. Go to that sheet, write down the picture, and solve the problem. Keep going until you end up back where you started. You can work with a partner, so only 2 people working together, and you will do the problems. Make sure you read really carefully what it's asking you for. So it might be asking you for slope, or the y-intercept, or the x-intercept, or which one's the steepest, or the equation. So make sure you read each problem carefully. Okay. Once you finish that, you will turn it in. Tomorrow you have your retest.